See what we talking about today. Topics along the way. See if anybody comes through. A lot to talk about. Some NBA playoffs. Some thoughts, some reflections about what happened yesterday. I I got it wrong on my video because it was Bobby Portis who got thrown on, not Chris Middleton. But they still got their butt beat. Milwaukee still lost Indiana, so it makes no difference because after a while, if it ain't Giannis and Damian out there, it don't really matter. They're not winning this series, so that's a wrap. But I want to get that right. I saw the Bobby Portis push. I'm giving the Pacers some credit for playing with their offense. I mean, their offense is pretty good. They don't play no defense, so they at least got that offense. So I'm gonna give them their due in that regard. I know it's not gonna be fashionable for no one to give them a chance, but I'm gonna tell you, if you can score and you get somebody to get hurt or something happens, it's in the East, there might be some surprise. There might be a surprise. I doubt it though, but you never know. I doubt it though. It's gonna be a lot of question marks actually in the East because everybody gonna know if the Knicks are really that good. Is Action Brunson? Can he lead them? You know, it's gonna be a dogfight. But yeah, just touching base on some of these things. So I'm gonna give people about what's up, what's up, how you doing? What's up? Just got through talking about Milwaukee, Indiana. Pacers offense looks pretty good. And I'm gonna give what credit's due. Because Doc Rivers is still a winning coach, so and you beat them, you beat them. Then they finally act like they know how to use Brook Lopez. So even when 3/4 of your team is down, why they don't do that more often, I don't know. Brook Lopez can do 25 and 10 if he gets fed the rock. I don't know. I don't know why Milwaukee makes life so hard on themselves, but they do. And you know, so that's what's up. I did my videos today. I touched about Minnesota or Phoenix. I think you pretty much know. They need a everything. They don't have a real point guard. they don't they just don't play smart. That's the biggest problem with them. They make the game harder with all that outside shooting. Lopez can still ball. I mean, you can get 18 to 20 out of him every night and he can get you bored. So I don't know why they don't utilize that big body. I don't know. I'm not a Bucks fan like that, so that's not my problem. But if I was, I'd be frustrated that he doesn't get more touches. Because to be honest with you, they can make him punish. Well, I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised. It wasn't just him. He beat all of them. Shoot, because Devin Booker took what, 4 games to score 40 plus points. He beat them all, abused them all. I did roast him. He had it coming. It should have kept his behind in Golden State. And see, it's not looking good for him because it's like, where you gonna run to next? Oh, there's someone clowned him in one of them videos because somebody said he's waiting to see who wins the finals to hook up. They clowned him worse than I did. And I hate to do it too because that dude is one of the baddest offensive forces I've ever seen. But history ain't gonna be nice to him. He was maybe looking to be in the anywhere from the 11 to 16 slot all time. But the way his career is going down, he might not crack the teens. And it's not looking good. It's not looking good. Well, yeah. Yeah, because he went to a team that ain't that good. And they don't have a leader. And I don't trust Devin Booker. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Bradley Beal. And Nurch is not the answer at center. And Frank Vogel, whatever defensive coaching he did, it left him long ago. It was a bad matchup. It just ugly. Well, I won't call it elder abuse, but that's what a lot of people are thinking. And they don't need him. Oh, I know where he can go. I give you places he can go, but he don't. Denver don't need him. Minnesota don't need him. Maybe OKC. Maybe. If you get a cherry picker, maybe. No, because the problem is that he's injury prone, he's old, and why would you put him with LeBron if you did do that? That wouldn't be smart. And he too cool. He don't play mad. You need him to play mad. He too cool. No, Golden State was the best place for him. He was at his coolest with Steph. He could spot up and shoot when he wanted, when he felt like it. He wouldn't work with LA. Devin Booker is more interject than anything the Lakers got on the perimeter. So if you can't play with D Book and Bradley Beal, then what you think is gonna work with LA? They ain't got nothing like those two out there because LeBron ain't gonna cover him. No, no. And they got the rivalry anyway, so that wouldn't work. So I didn't catch it. What did he say about Frank Vogel? And I will refute that here. But what did he say? What did he say? You see, I'm gonna say it like this: Vogel with the Lakers didn't say anything wrong. They just ran him out because they didn't want him. He wanted Westbrook to come off the bench. He didn't do anything wrong. He never had a chance in Phoenix, and it was not a good look because that's where Kevin Durant is more effective. He's not effective. Well, thank you so much, AJ. Appreciate you. Welcome from Australia. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Need that. Yeah, I'm going to do a video about Frank Vogel tomorrow. I'll do a Frank Vogel. Thank you. Because this was not his fault. The problem is they don't have no point guard. Defensive coach or not, they don't forget defensive coach. Their offense is offensive. Okay. You got no point guard. Check. You got guys who all shoot, spot shooters. Nurkic is a finesseful center. So you're not getting great. You're just not a good team. It's just not a good look. It was set up to create some big three illusion with guys who are really not in place. These trolls are horrible tonight. Appreciate AJ from Australia. Where he gonna go? And the problem with Booker, right? You know what the problem is with Booker? He got that Paul George syndrome. He gotten figured out. He put up a lot of points. He stat pad. He don't play consistent. He's not consistent. If he was consistent, I might say that might work. I don't know if that would work for them be with him. I mean, they do need somebody. But Booker is so it's Booker is he's a okay, how am I gonna say this about Devin Booker? He's a better player in basketball than Kirk Cousins is in football, but he's like Kirk Cousins in that he's jacking money because he don't play his worth. He frustrating and he pouts and he goes through the motions. Ain't no way in the world he should have gotten swept by Minnesota. And he looked pathetic until this last game. He stat pad, hides behind that headband and don't do nothing. I don't know what that be meaning. There's a lot of trolls out here tonight. But anyway, he's not going to go to no Philly. Booker would be a good fit in Atlanta, though. Yeah, he is. Don't get me started on Mister Comforter mattress. Once I get the right mattress, I play better. I couldn't believe that turkey said that. I was like, "Oh, you got to be kidding me!" You gotta be kidding me. But yeah, you ain't lying. Cause that was horrible this year. I mean, the way to get knocked out like that in the first round and get swept, get your butt handed to you like that by Minnesota, you ain't never lied. I ain't mad at him either. I ain't mad at him. I ain't mad at him. I ain't lying. But anyway, they still can beat y'all. As long as Jokic is playing, they still can beat you. And it's not like Murray's exactly been lighting y'all butt up. He hit the game winning shot in game two, but that's not. They still can win. They can still win without him. They just got to make their shots. So are y'all. So we're pretty evenly matched up. They play a good game, you in trouble. So I mean, you know, and you hope he do. I hope y'all lose. I already said what I said last night. I already said what I said. I'd rather see Denver against Minnesota anyway. That's the matchup I want anyway. I don't want to see that matchup. As a matter of fact, I want that to be the Western Conference Finals if I had my way. That's the one I want. Because I'm not really sold on OKC and not the Clippers and the Mavericks. But that Denver, Minnesota, if that comes to pass, that's what the one I want. Mhm. Okay. Caleb, he said Caleb Williams versus Jordan Love. I'm not gonna answer that because it's too early. I ain't seen Caleb Williams play in NFL. Can't answer that. That's not fair. That's not fair to neither one of them. I got to see what the Bears' offense looks like. I got to see what the receiving core look like. I got to see the sets. I can't answer that. I've already told you, Jordan Love, maybe not this year, but next year is going to be deep. So that's not fair because I can compare a guy who just went to 2 rounds, who could have gone to a championship against a rookie that I don't really know. So it's not fair. So I got to plead the fifth on that one. They are in two different situations. Plus, also, just on what I'm gonna say, common sense. No disrespect, just common sense. The Bears don't know how to handle an offensive minded quarterback. No way. So we don't know. So I don't know. Well, only because Jared Goff been to a Super Bowl and he went to an NFC Championship game. So, um, that's the only reason why I have to give him the edge. You gotta remember, you know. Again, you got to make it where you mention people on the same caliber tier play. I can't because Jared Goff has played longer than Jordan Love and has had more success. Been to two NFC championship games and he's been to a Super Bowl. So it's not quite And he's looking pretty good with Detroit last year. They got one step further than you, but again, that's not fair to Jordan Love. Give me Jordan Love next year. Let me see. Well, you know, now that's more like it. Stroud. I see a lot more upside because I was impressed with what they did. Um, you might remember a rookie, unproven head coach, and now he's got someone like Diggs. I think Stroud's got a lot more upside. So, but again, that's just going by what I seen. But Jordan Love got a chance. They got a chance next year. I think after this year, not this year, but I think Jordan Love, because I think they'll push it to maybe an NFC Championship game. And then Super Bowl, I'm thinking next year. I'm giving Jordan Love to make that move because I think the NFC going to be wide open. Russell Wilson, come on now. That's not even for discussion. Because Russell Wilson was a starter. He did win a Super Bowl. He went to 2 Super Bowls. Jimmy G had better situations though. Now, if you want, now the only reason why this is why I don't laugh your question now is because Jimmy G actually was poised, and he should have been with New England and with Frisco. He was set for something, and he big ol' eye incomplete. But Russell did more work though. Jimmy G was set though for greatness, but he was never was. So it's Russell in a blowout. Then that's a good one. That's a good one. Um, if I go regular season, I'm taking Russell. If I go postseason, I'm taking Eli. Let's see, which way do I go? Boy, and their careers are kind of like getting at a state. If he had stayed in Seattle, I probably would have taken Russell. But now I gotta probably give Eli just a. It's close. That's how much Russell then fell off. So that's a toughie. You'd have asked me that question about 6 years ago. I told you Russell in a blowout, but he didn't fell off. Ooh, that's a good one. That might be your best one in a long time. Warren Moon, because Kurt Warner had a better squad when he won and how he won. He did go to 2 Super Bowls, but Moon moved me more. And I don't know if Warner, if he'd have been through the same hoops, would have had it like Moon. If you give Moon the greatest show on turf and what he did with Arizona, I gotta give Moon. But that's a good question though. Because Warner's as a Super winner, and he did MVP and all that. Moon moved me more. Excuse me. I got to give it to Moon. Elway in a blowout because he did more with less. I mean, the man went to 5 Super Bowls, and he was a big time quarterback. Big Ben was too, but Elway was like on another level, and he come from behind. He was clutch. Elway. Plus, we've been through too many picks. So is your I'm gonna take ED because Dickerson moved me more as a back. Falk was bad all purpose, but Eric Dickerson in his peak and his prime was, headed towards some of the greatest of the greats. So I gotta give it to ED. But that's a good question though. And they two different backs too. But I like Dickerson's approach better. um, I like Corey Dillon a lot. Probably even better when we went to New England. I got to give it to Edge. I think Edge moved me a little bit more. But see, if Corey had the hybrid in his Cincinnati days to New England, he'd been one of the greatest. But I gotta give the Edge though. Trying to think. Yeah, yeah, I gotta give it to Edge James. Mm, Eddie George, power back. I like this style a lot. Poyers was could book too, but Eddie George power game moved me a little bit more though. Cause I was impressed with what Eddie George did. He really didn't have much to, him and McNair didn't have a lot to work with. So I give it to Eddie George. But I did like Clinton Portis though. Um, well, Frank Gore. Because Jamal Lewis, if it wasn't for the Cleveland Browns, I don't even know if his career would even been remembered. He got over a chunk of his yards playing against them. Frank Gore was more consistent. So I'm Frank Gore there. Okay, I want to get back to basketball because I'm going to think about football. But if I'm going to do this, it's for me, it's T.O. T.O.'s in my top two or three greatest receivers ever. I don't hold Megatron quite there because T.O. was a machine. The only thing, and he would have been just as scary if Matthew Statpad was his quarterback too. I mean, he had Jeff Garcia, who wasn't the half of Statpad, so he showed he could pile up numbers with, you know. It's not just Bam. They gotta have Tyler Hero has to push 20 to 25 points. He has to control tempo. They have to get more assists. Duncan Robinson has to hit. They got to get Kevin Love. They got to get a team effort. Everybody got to score between 12 to 15 points. They cannot depend on one guy just to be a hot hand. And they got to get to rotate on the ball. They got to get some stops. And they got to force Boston into some kind of half court or put a hip on and do something. Cannot play toe to toe when you're out talented. Because hard work and hustle can get you so far. But if you don't have easy baskets and you're struggling, you're not going to have a hope. No, they're not. No, they're not. Tyler Hero's the X factor. What he did the other night, he has to manipulate and get people involved because he's the only player they got that can get everybody involved. They're nothing unless he gets going. He has to be the one. He needs to have a 20 to 25 point game, pushing 10 dimes, some steals, and they got to get boards. They got to find a way to make Boston pay and try to create a free throw situation. They got to find a way to mix the tempo, slow it down so Boston doesn't get in transition and ice them. That's the problem. And again, when you're going against a team that's better than you talent wise, it's easier said than done. But I can't expect an old man like Kevin Love and a puppy like Joker to be X factors because they need Tyler Hero to take that charge. So, I never say he have toughness. I said smarts. There's a difference. He has to play smart. He has to find a way to utilize his skill set, get people involved. You know, no, this isn't about toughness. This is about using common sense and not trying to play hero ball, but trying to play smart ball like he did in game two. If they can get a blueprint where they crunch up, make the game ugly, slow Boston down the spots, hit some shots, and then stay away from turnovers and a lot of cheap tactic things, and they're okay. Well, they're gonna need him to be a very versatile member. So we'll see. That's all I'm saying. They need to get him going. To me, he's more of an X factor than Joe Javix and Kevin Love because Duncan was one of the few bright spots against the Nuggets in the finals last year, if you remember. And if he gets that outside shot going and he get going, he can cook. Passing game is nice. The boards is nice. So probably do. You know, they gotta find a way to stay away from turnovers and excessive back taps. They gotta get hustle. Excuse me. They gotta be Boston with a mix, and they gotta figure out how to make it work. They got enough to kind of give them a problem if they can figure it out. Nah, I don't really mess with Amazon Prime, but appreciate the shout out. Yeah. I don't think it's so much about bad cause effect. I just think that when you're outmanned, it comes down to your talent level. You got to hustle. That's why they heat culture, because they hustle. You're not going to get a lot of calls, and the problem is they got to find a way to ugly up the game. They got to find a way, to catch Jason Tatum loafing or Brown strip him or go Porzingis. They got to figure out a way to find somebody that's a weak link. That's the only way they're going to have a chance. Because if it's mano a mano, they're going to have a hard time in this series. That's why I was very, you know, so it's not you only need a goon when you got a superstar. And if you got a real superstar, you need something like that. That's not what they need. They need a marquee guy who can score points and put Jimmy Butler and Bam in place, and then Tyler. Then they got something. Then they need another bench part that could come off tough roll. They got some holes in it. It's just that because they're exposed to covers a lot of bases, it's what the problem is. That's not going to help them right now having a tough guy and you don't have a guy who can create points because they don't have that. That's been their Achilles. You know, you need a tough guy when you got other factors involved, not when you're just lucky to be in the playoffs, because that don't work no more. So I'd only say that they did. He's gonna get what he wants because Jimmy Butler ain't there, and plus, anyone gonna make him put the ball on the ground to strip him. But that don't mean that they can't make it tough on him. And he's streaky. He's streaky. See, everything you saying makes sense except for one thing. Boston tends to beat their own selves. That's the problem with them. They tend to beat their own selves. They tend to overshoot, be cute, and settle, and that's what happens. Well, if you do that, then you have to make sure you're willing to let the other person beat you. I like the strategy the other night where you kept Porzingis, because to me, he's the key. Let's see. This is where Kevin Love is too old. So when you said that he too old, got him about 6, 7 years ago, I'll give you that. He too old now. Because Porzingis is like their third option. And some nights he can look like their second, and sometimes he can look like their first. Kevin Love is now a fifth option. And at best, he might look like a fourth. But he's not to be mentioned amongst the top three on Miami. Well, if Derek White don't get hot, then you gotta remember he can make some shots. They got to skim. They like I said before. It's tough when you got talent and teams can camp on you and spread you. That's one of the biggest problems I see in this series. And whatever you got in game two, you got to figure out how to manipulate and bottle it up. What's up, man? What's that? Well, what happened with Kevin Love, as I told you before, when he got to Cleveland, that's why he's you he future for I don't know. Because the ring aside in his Minnesota career, but there's a lot of time people kind of forgot about him. I'm just keeping it 100. He got to Cleveland, and of course LeBron and Kyrie, but then J.R. Smith got hot, and then he got regulated to for some time. His his where he should have been and what has happened, I don't know. Yeah. Good to see you, Tom. Welcome. I just call it like I see it. And sometimes a guy, he's a good example of a cat that he messing with LeBron. Yeah, he'll still be a Hall of Famer, but I don't know about no first ballot. I don't know if it's just gonna be a straight first. I can't call that. What's happening? How you doing? I can't call that because a lot of damage was done. He didn't reap the big benefits of that 2016 ring, except that it's gonna get him eventually Hall, but it's like people have forgotten about him. Uh, So what's up, LP? Rozier ain't playing. So I don't know where you get the 30 from because he ain't playing. I hope so tonight time. I hope so. If I'm the Nuggets, I want to put them away for a couple reasons because you don't want this series to go on too much longer. And you got the Minnesota Timberwolves waiting in line. And ain't going to be a dog fight. Whatever. Fix be on with that crap. I'm not trying to hear that mess. Can't stand Laker fans. You don't even deserve to be there. I hope Jokic finishes up. I really do. So I can get this crap over so we can get to some real basketball, not this bought and paid for Fox Sports and ESPN mess with the Lakers mess cuz it's not good. It's embarrassing. Yes, they are. And I told Ted recently that that was a team that I thought they were one of those teams that you that's what I'm thinking. And actually, if you're the Lakers, you do want to lose to Denver because Minnesota tear your behind up. Minnesota do look good. They might be the scariest team right now. They might just be. They got them two trees, and they got that man hanging in the air, and they got McDaniel who ain't no slouch, and they got Conley. That's a team that's gonna be a problematic team. So, and you might go ahead and try to, if you smart, you camp it in tonight, pack it in. You don't really want to have to. Nobody wants to prolong, and the only reason you go deep and play a 6, 7 game series because you're trying to avoid Minnesota. You really don't want that. Yeah, but because of Jokic, they can offset that though. That's the only difference though. But that's enough of a difference. But I only put the bench in context when the teams get deeper. I agree. No, I agree. And before someone like Charles Barkley says that Phoenix is mediocre, I agree. But there's something about Minnesota that they just built a little different. Like I agree that Phoenix was average, but there's something about the Timberwolves that do look scary. Because if Ant gets to use them trees and McDaniel's there and Conley's there, and they got a bench too, oh, they could be a problem. They could be a problem. No, he made the point about he made the point about he said he's not giving Minnesota a lot of juice though, because it beat a mediocre Phoenix team. But I'm taking it one step further. I said, yeah, that's true. I said, but I'm sensing something about Minnesota. Unlike I'm disagreeing with him on this. I think I'm looking at them a little bit different. I really am. Because Ant is emerging before your eyes. And Ant said himself he wants to take the league over in a couple of years. I believe that. He looked that good. They look like the scariest team right now. Subject to change, but they look pretty scary now. But again, I can't. I know they beat Phoenix, and you can always throw that in my face that that didn't really count, which is true. What he's saying is how Minnesota beat them in the postseason and did it by double digits. What he's making a point is how Minnesota flipped another switch in his postseasons. That's what he's saying. But he's also saying that Phoenix was mediocre. And he's not lying. It's just that I don't think he's giving Minnesota their deep respect. And maybe he don't sense that they're where they are. But regular season, sometimes don't carry over, sometimes it do. But I think, regardless of whatever it is, Minnesota got my attention. Yeah, well, that's what I expected. I mean, when they got excited about getting him, I'm like, y'all ain't gonna win nothing. He'll stat pad though. He's one of the best stat padders there is. Not if they playing, not what I'm seeing. Not of what I'm seeing. Because them trees alone are gonna give Chad a problem. Them trees inside out, and Cat likes to take your butt out to the top of the key. And so he's busting 28, 30 points and 10 boards. I mean, come on now. That's gonna be an energetic if that was to come to pass. That would be hilarious if that became the Western Conference Finals. Nobody see OKC in Minnesota. You bet your bottom dollar Adam Silver's gonna try to make something happen. You know what I'm talking about. Adam Silver, OKC versus Minnesota in the Western Conference Final. The fix be on. The fix will be on. Mm-mm. Ain't no TV ratings for that. Now, if we playing fair world, I wouldn't have no problem. You know what I'm talking about? Thank you. About time you acknowledge what I be talking about. I like it how people be looking at my videos about, oh, if you say it's a fix. Oh, you can't. I said, you know good and well that man ain't gonna sit there and let no OKC and Minnesota play in the Western Conference Finals. And who could we get in the East? Indiana and I can't even say it. You know, good and well the fix is on. You already know. No, good and well. I call it. See, this ain't like the NFL. NFL can do that stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah. But you see, they don't think they know what I'm talking about. They ain't talking crazy. No, good and well, they know what I'm talking about. They know what I'm saying. Shoot. Look, I remember David Stern and Adam Silver, though they different, they very similar. He talk about that game about parity until it really happened. And then you know good and well they ain't flying out to the OKC in Minnesota. You know. Uh-uh. OKC's country and Minnesota is kind of cold and low. No, that ain't no. We already know. And you go to the mall, you don't see nobody with no OKC clothes or no Minnesota Timberwolves clothes on. Now, I will say this though. I don't care about them. I don't care. Listen, I dug Durant, but Durant is just busted. Yeah. Means big market. Ain't sure as heck ain't trying to see no country time OKC or Minnesota fighting in the Western Conference. That's not in the, and if it is, it's only gonna be one of them teams, good and well that if it was the Indiana Pacers and OKC or Minnesota in the finals, what do you think the ratings would be like? Game one of the NBA finals, the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Indiana Pacers. What do you think? You know good and well that ain't gonna happen. Because the NBA is not going to let that happen. But they don't want him. What they gonna want him for? He old, and you see the problem with them is this: Luca or Kyrie is not the same leader as Steph was. And they streaky. They don't play no defense, and they don't really they talented, but you saw what happened yesterday. And they came back because the Clippers don't play no defense, but they was getting their butt mollywopped at the crib. They was getting smashed. Come on now. So I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. He'd have gone there probably about a couple years ago, but not now. I don't know where he goes, to be honest with you, because it has to be somewhere where that's a veteran team. He can't go to no team that's on the come up because they can't do nothing with him. Yes, the Mavericks need another scorer, but he ain't the one, though. He ain't the one. Not at this stage. No, I don't want him. He too old. Shoot. And Jimmy Butler would have to be healthy and no, no. I told you Golden State's his best ticket. Just saying. And maybe Philadelphia. Question mark there. To come to Miami, to come now you're gonna call him old news. Yeah, to come to Miami, he'd have to be in his peak in his prime. All he's doing now is trying to get to 30,000 points. He ain't winning no chips. It's gonna be 30,000 plus points, stat pad, and go off to the sunset. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. Shoot, if he went to Philly, I might buy that to an extent with Embiid, because then he'd have to be the third option. Embiid, him, and Maxey. Then you forget about Tobias and Kaluber comes off the bench, and I don't know what you're gonna do with Lowry. There you go. That's it. Philly would be his next logical move. He's got to have two forces where he don't have to be the dude. That's why he got exposed in Brooklyn, and that's why he got exposed in Phoenix. All right. Well, look at the teams he's played with. I mean, Brooklyn was the same thing. Went against Boston. They zeroed in on him. What's up? And I mean, you got to remember, he has to think these teams play defense. So he went against the Celtics. They trapped him. They let him get his 20 points, but they were going to sit there and let him hit his sweet spots, you know. And now with Phoenix, they have no interior. There's no depth. Brooklyn didn't do nothing on them. I just got through saying when they got swept, I said Boston defended him, stripped him, and they had no answer. You're about 4 or 5 years too late with that one. That ain't gonna work. That's not gonna work. I already told you where he could go. Philly would be the most logical choice. Him and Embiid and Maxey. I would welcome. I'd say that one makes sense. He wouldn't do nothing with the Rockets because he's too old. That's what I was saying. I only say that because it's a proven situation with him and Steph, and they kind of would need each other at this stage. I mean, they older, and it would probably be a situation where they could build around. But so many teams that can deal with KD at this stage because these teams are younger and they're scoring. He's injured. He didn't go somewhere he knew a system where he was successful. So that's why I said that. He's not quite the same dude he was when he went to Brooklyn when he came back from his injuries. And you can tell that looking at him in this series against Minnesota. And like I said before, the problem with KD, he just so laid back and cushy. The team's coming out here whipping on that butt. They're not letting him sit there and go off. Now I don't know about that. I don't know how you figure because they need Kaminga's got to be huge. They got to get a bench. They got to get they got to decide what they're gonna do with a couple positions. They're not close to no rings. This ain't 2017 through 19. It's almost 10 years later. It's 8 years later. It ain't quite that. When Steph snuck that ring a couple years ago, they had a good run at him because Wiggins came up big and they played and everybody was kind of low key. I don't know if that could happen now. So I'm not gonna say nothing like that. So but that's how I'm looking at it though. I don't see him getting no more rings. I don't see neither one of them getting no rings. But Golden State need a lot of work. You might be on to something. With the defensive player of the years, he definitely needs that would definitely work in his favor. You probably might be on to something with that. And it would solidify and justify his career. Because after being kind of seen almost like a clown, like that'd be huge. And they got a chance. They got a chance. I like him what I'm saying with him. Yeah, he has. And he's not hacking. He's not overacting. Yeah, he is. He's got a little outside shot too. I mean, he can score double double. I mean, like I said before, they play their smart brand of basketball. They got a very impressive starting five. And the key is if Cat's healthy. If Cat's healthy, then they're gonna be a handful. Cause he's got that outside shot. And I'm telling you, they're a dangerous team. So yeah, I'll give what credit's due. Yeah, he's matured, and again, he's you know, he's had some battles. He's been battle scar tested, and I'm telling you, they look legit. I'm giving them a big old chance because they got that Ant Man coming too. And see that, I mean, when you got a perimeter guy who can go like Ant can, if it'll be a problem. But we'll see. I like what Cat's doing. Excuse me. I like what Cat's doing. That's right. He's looking good. Well, he's very athletic. Jordan called him special, so that should tell you something. Jordan been watching him. I mean, he's got grip. Well, it's because he just telling it like it is. Braun can be mad all he wants. He got to scratch his butt and get glad. There's a young generation of cats that are out now, and at this stage, Braun, you stat padding and you hoping that you can get in on it, but there's a new generation that's there, and that's what he's going by. Jordan is not stuck in what happened 10 years ago, because Jordan is looking at the way I'm looking at it. I know all you Laker fans come up at me and all this other stuff, but I don't think. Well, he might be, but he's got to understand the game didn't pass everybody up. It was look special. He do because he didn't work on his craft and he's getting better. He's utilizing what he has around him for teammates too. Smart, one of the smartest things I've seen in a long time. But if you're gonna play with them trees and they're willing to defer and let you take off, the more power to it. Braun is probably because Braun wants everybody to kiss his ring. Jordan ain't never gonna kiss that ring. I already know. Because the thing is that Jordan, you don't have to tell nobody that you're great. But if you have to keep getting in people's faces, it gets annoying. He will. He will. He gonna have plenty of time to do that. Conley is nice, consistent, hardworking. I like Mike Conley too. I'll follow him. He's in a good situation here, so he got a chance to do something. No, he wouldn't. Not now. He wouldn't. He too old. Too old. We need a faster scoring guy. We need De'Aaron Fox. I say this to you every night. I am not inconsistent with what I say. I haven't stuttered. Look, I respect Mike Conley a lot. He's with a team that has bigger wheels. He can't be part of Heat culture when he's got two trees and an upcoming superstar playing. We don't have that. Jimmy Butler is not. He's like Ant, but he don't score like Ant. I see what he's doing with them, but they have better talent overall. We don't have the same kind of talent. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Bam is not Cat. He's an undersized big man who plays hard. I got much love for what he do. However, he's giving up a lot. We don't have what they got. Conley's in a situation where he's playing with a team that has better stack. We don't have that. If he came to Miami, it wouldn't really move the needle because we need more scoring. We facilitate, but it's different with what they're doing in Minnesota. Now I'll tell you this: if you have the Alonzo Mourning, Shaquille O'Neal era Miami Heat, when you have that low post, that kind of thing, okay, I'll give you that. We're not in that kind of era no more. So no, he really wouldn't be an asset. But De'Aaron Fox would be more of an asset for style. You give me De'Aaron Fox or Conley. Look, I like Conley more, but when we're playing in 2024, I need a De'Aaron Fox. And that's what's missing. You need something else too. Yeah, it wouldn't be enough. You need something else. They still need an outside shooter. They need about a couple cats off the bench. They only won 20 games, so you gotta give me more than that. That's a plus 5 or 6 wins, maybe 10. Where you gonna get the other 5 or 10 from after that? So you give me up to 25 to 30 wins. Where am I gonna get the other 15, 10 to 15 wins from? Gotta have another piece. They're not gonna lose Fox. Well, they might lose Fox. They keep underachieving in the postseason. They might because they don't play no defense. And I like Mike Brown, but they just too limited. And they got housed by New Orleans too. So I said that because of the offense. And they got to play a team that got to figure out how to turn them over, and it's going to be tough. He's a great fit. He's what I call the perfect second, third tier option, second, third option, who will flirt like a first on some nights because he'll throw a 25, 26 at you, making you think, but he's really a strong second who can be a scary third. That's why he's a scary dude. I like Sock'em a lot. I do. He would have been a steal for Golden State. Why they didn't make a move for him, I don't know. He would have made logical sense because he was a problem against them. Yeah, they got a nice. The only problem is they don't play no defense. That's the only thing I got against them. They're anemic to defense. They got offense though, and they could. And if they get hot, they could be a problem. Because those boys really go and play some offense. I will say this: early I'd say Pacers in 6, but Brunson is a monster by itself. But the Pacers would like that matchup. But if they because they lose that series by not playing defense. Because if it come down to offense, I like the Pacers. Because the truth is the Pacers got everything that the Sixers don't have. That's what Joel Embiid don't have. Second and third options that are consistent. Third and fourth options that are consistent, I should say. Pacers can score. The reason why the Knicks are having success against the Sixers is because they've got more options. Yeah, well, nobody cares about that series. Nobody cares. They each got something that the other team don't have. Magic got youth and guys that can score and move around. Cleveland's got Donovan Mitchell and Jared Allen. You put those two together, you got peanut butter and jelly. But neither one of those teams are that deep. And neither one of those teams would beat the Celtics. So let's just cut to the chase. Not recently. Not recently. They've been actually better on the road because against Miami, they lost a lot of road games. I just think that with the Celtics, you just got to have matchups. You got to figure out what matchups you're going to get and what you can take. And you got to catch Tatum trying to do too much and being cute. You got to hope. But you got to play a really fine line with them. They got the talent, and that's the fact. See? And that's all I'm getting at. I'm not going to sugarcoat nothing. Teams that's got talent are hard to beat. You ain't got the talent, you better play hard. You might get a game, you get some quarters. It's hard to beat a team that's got better talent than you. That's all I'm getting at. They should come out the East this year, if I'm honest. I don't know. I'm not gonna say that mess because this ain't like Larry Bird and them playing. No, ain't no refs. They're a better team. They're a better team against certain teams. I can't say that about no rest because they did won their games and they can beat teams. Tatum sometimes get too many free throws. I'm not going to argue that. There have been some suspect things, but did they win a title against Golden State? How many finals have they been to with Tatum and Brown law firm? So no, I'm not saying no refs there. Teams that have real success, you can make that case, and not them Celtics. No, there's always questionable calls, but they're a better team than Miami. If you're talking about this, listen, you gotta have talent to beat talent eventually. You can play hard and hard as you want. If you don't have the guys that can match up, that's why there are tiers to this. There's why guys don't because they gotta have the talent. I might not like the calls I see and get frustrated, but I'm looking at what they got as far as talent goes. They're a better talented team. I wouldn't say that. Besides, you're a Laker fan. You can't call nobody out on no free throws when y'all got 500 more free throws than anybody else. Y'all got way more free throws than Boston. Now stop with that because Jason Tatum is considered a better player at this stage than LeBron and AD almost put together. So go figure out how a team that's playing tournament, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th seed got more free throws than the team that's number one in a whole different conference. I can't really even go there. See? So that's the reason why if someone was approach you, they would come at you. They don't foul y'all. Y'all be getting well. Explain how you get beat in the paint because Raw did that video, which was true. Zion should have had about 15 free throws by himself. They tore y'all behind up in the paint, so make it make sense. It's not about the point. It's about who's on the team. That's you know what it is. It's who's on the team. That's how you get calls. We can call for fouls all night on people if we want to. And every time y'all have an even free throw game, you don't win. Now, and I told you before about them 5 or 10 games that you won by 4 points and y'all had like 20 more free throws. I ain't make that up. That's a fact. So I'm just keeping it 100. I will say this. If the Celtics are the best team in the East, I expect them to have more free throw attempts. And they've been pushing Tatum for like a minute, but they're not living and dying by a free throw because they're just not a finishing team. So whatever they have fortune, I know you still mad about that LeBron slap when he went through and the ref didn't call it and he frailed on the floor. Okay, I'll give you that. But I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that I've seen Boston get all these calls because they're not into the finals but once. Yeah, I know. I knew it was the truth. I remember that. I was coming out of church that night. He got slapped. He's like, ow, whoa, oh, and he rolled over. Oh, he is so animated. It's hilarious. But the way he showed up his coach the other night too. Anyway, you got more free throws after that game. But I don't look at Boston as getting all these free throws. I just they're not really a dominant team. And even though they win a lot of games, no one is scared of them. They only got one finals appearance. since Tatum and Brown have been together. So you got to do better than that. That's it. So I do know they want them to go to the finals. That I do know. Nobody wants to see Minnesota and Indiana in the finals. Just saying. I'm just gonna keep it 100. Or OKC in Orlando. Okay, that's not gonna happen. So we already know. But I'm not gonna say nothing because again, the Heat have to play out their mind to beat them. They have to play twice as good. They don't have the same. Again, I'm just gonna keep it 100. Teams got better talent. You got to bust your button and hit another gear. So they bust their button, hit another gear, then yeah. But if Boston wins tonight, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. And I think it's going to be tough for Miami. I just do. They were flat the other night. And, you know, the Boston can take a punch. They have to play up tempo because they can't play them slow. They don't have anything. They don't create enough to control tempo. They have to push the rock and try to score and wear them out. And maybe catch them making some turnovers. They have to play it a certain way. They don't have the luxury of just lollygagging. Ain't no Shaquille O'Neal there for barbecue. Ain't no Alonzo there. Bam can score as good as Lazo, but when you're playing a team like that, you're not getting free throws. You got to beat them somewhere else. Hustle points, fast break, turn them over. So he's not because he's not seen as a person that they care about. There's politics involved. You already know. I hate to tell you this, but if you got no name, they're not gonna give you no name. He's not seen as a player that they want to invest in. It's real. It's not fair, but it's true. But that's not why they losing. Probably. But I just think that I think he's a real subtle player. He's real subtle. He's a real subtle player. So well, they got to try to stop him. But again, I expect Bam's first step is underrated. I think his step is underrated because he leans in. He gets a lot of lean in with his shot. Well, Gordon is one of those kind of people that if he gets his inside outside going, it could be a problem. You know, I don't know. I don't know. He can shoot, and he got spring in him, so we'll see. You know, he's coming into his own. That's the scary part. He's starting to hit his peak in his prime now. He's scary, and he could go for one of them big games too. You know, I call him Big Clay because he got a sweet three. Man, if he gets going, they're a problem. You know, so not much. I'm getting ready to leave in just a second because I got a couple minutes because I got to roll. Because I've been here for almost an hour and a half. Been here over an hour, so glad that you came through. But it's well, they got enough to balance it out. Their biggest thing is just about holding down the fort, but they got enough to balance it down. So I mean, if they play smart basketball, don't get cute, and some consistency on the defense, they'll be all right. So anyway, I'm gonna call it a night. Glad everybody came through. Appreciate the comments, thoughts, words, questions, and everything. Great to see everybody. Hope everybody be cool. Appreciate you as always. And I'm gonna step on out. Have a good night. Peace.